Hello everybody and welcome to Going for Goldbridge. We are going to be taking your questions as usual and we're going to be talking about the big topics. I just want to say I've had to re-record this because I am going to mention the True Geordie on this show, and I had filmed it on Sunday night after all the questions, and then obviously it was trending yesterday, so I would be wrong to talk about what I was going to talk about and then not mention the trending, so we'll talk about that in a moment. But I just want to answer for one question first. It was, would you rather have no arms or no legs? For me, this is a very easy answer. I'd rather have no legs as long as my middle leg is not included in that. I like my real legs off, keep my middle leg, and then I've still got my hands. So yeah, definitely keep my hands because yeah, I mean, it's not very nice to have either. There's a serious point to this, but if I had to make a choice, sometimes you do. I'd take my two legs, not my middle leg. Right, let's get into this then. The topic I was going to talk about is, first of all, it was relation to, and my favourite question of the day is going to be, how do you deal with nervousness and stress in your life, from Robert Davenport, which we'll talk about in a moment. But let's start off with this. So what I was going to talk about, and I am going to talk about, is how do you feel about not really being on mainstream media? United Stand is the biggest United fan channel. Mark Goldbridge, you're a very big personality on social media apparently, but you're never on the mainstream media, and some lesser, smaller channels, etc. are on there. How does that make you feel? People take the piss out of you for it, etc. And my answer to that is going to be, about, well, look, True Geordie's massive on YouTube, especially on football YouTube. The Kickoff is a great show. I've been on it myself. The production values, what they're doing there with Loz is absolutely fantastic. They're not on mainstream media, so does it matter? And there's a bigger question to that, which we'll talk about in a moment. But first of all, let's talk about the trending stuff, because people will probably come here for that. Obviously, True Geordie was trending yesterday about some direct messages that had a sexual nature to them. And my answer to this is, look, you know, people are, he's not replied to it, this, that, and the other. Well, there's two things really. First of all, I don't think they're true. I don't know whether they are or they're not. I don't think they're true. If they are true, so what? It's not illegal, what he's saying that he enjoys doing. And I've got loads of mates I've had over the years that some of the stuff they've said that they've done, because some men are quite open about the stuff they've done, makes your stomach turn. But as we all know, people have different flavoured crisps that they like, different bags of sweets that they like, and in the bedroom or wherever else they want to do it, they have different things that they like to do. So from that point of view, yeah, I suppose there's an embarrassment element because the whole world knows your business if it's true, but it's not illegal. The second thing is very easy to manipulate, very easy to put fake direct messages, tweets out there. I've had it done to myself, so it's very easy to do. So look, people believing it will believe it because they want to believe something. It's the gutter press, isn't it? It's the Sun, it's everyone like that who tapped people's phones and put it out there. People want to know the dirt on somebody, and that's not a pun. And so for me, I don't actually even believe it's true, and I'm like, you know what? Why would you judge somebody on what might not be true? That actually portrays you as somebody who's quite shallow. You're going to believe something without even knowing the facts. There's always two sides to a story, and innocent until proven guilty. But unfortunately, in the media, that's not the case. And even if it is true, well, what somebody does in their own private life, and also, let's be honest, the person who has those direct messages, who's put them out there, if it was true, what a shithouse you are. That is disgusting. I hate that. I mean, the DT did it to me. Like, we had some direct messages. It was nothing like that. We had some direct message conversations, and he put them out on social media. And I don't care whether it's put someone's phone number or whatever. I think direct messages being put out onto social media, it just betrays the person who's doing it as a complete and utter shithouse, to be honest with you. But I don't actually think it's true, and even if it is, so bloody what, at the end of the day. What I want to talk about, though, and what I was going to bring the True Geordie into, is what I was going to say is, in relation to this mainstream media, like people say, oh, you're not on Sky, you're not on BT, other people are, you're not on Talk Sport, you're not on, you play a lot of FIFA, but you haven't got access to FIFA 20. Look, my answer to that is, again, True Geordie's massive, and he's not on any of those things. And he actually said something to me when I was on the Kickoff, which actually made a lot of sense. And he said, do you need to be on those platforms? is what you're doing more important than what's on those platforms anyway? Is the United Stand more important than what you get on Sky or BT anyway? Because you're doing it in a different way. In many ways, you're not a competitor, you're a different outlet. And I think that's very, very true. Look, if Sky ring me up and say, do you want to go on? I'd probably say, depends whether it fits in with what I'm doing. I'm not going to not do an 8 o'clock show on the United Stand to go and have a 2-minute segment on Sky Sports, because I'm basically bowing down to something that actually I want to do something different to. And also, it doesn't do that good. It doesn't do that much good. Like, if I'm on Sky Sports, do I get 100,000 subscribers for the United Stand? Do I get 100,000 more followers on Twitter? No, I don't. They're very different things. And I think people think that, for some people, it's like, oh, that's where I want to be. I want to see my big fat face on BT Sports speaking with bloody Jason Humphreys or whatever his name is. No, not for me. That's not why I really came into it. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but that's not really what I came into it to do, and it doesn't steer me away from what I want to do on the United Stand. It doesn't bother me when I flick the telly on and I see somebody on from a lesser channel than United Stand with worse opinions than I've got. So what? That's their choice. So yeah, I did want to sort of answer that. Is there a mainstream media ban for people like myself and the True Geordie? Possibly they don't like what we do. Very much think that probably is the case, because to be honest with you, I've been doing this for 5 years, and the amount of invites I've had to do it is ridiculous, considering how popular and the opinions that we actually have. So yeah, but what I would say about that is, and I've said this to you before, you need to understand this in life, is that people like Sky Sports, BT and everything like that, they're not monitoring social media, scouting for talent. That's not how these things work. I remember when I worked in the police and when I worked in the banking sector and everything like that, they're not necessarily scouting for talent. They want you to polish their boots, if that makes sense. They want you to climb the ladder, and it's what you can give to them. And they've got their little circle of people, and they're not. Life's not like that. Life is not like that very often. Life is not about, oh, we're constantly looking around below us for talent. Oh, who's the next talent? I love sitcoms. I love comedy, and it pisses me off that in the last 20 years we've not really had any good comedies in the UK. You have the Office, etc., and we've not really had anything since that. There'll be loads of talented writers out there with scripts for brilliant pieces of work, but the way the media works is it's not like that. It's not about, they're not really scouting for the next talent. It's about who you know, what you can give to them. Oh, you're such and such's daughter, you're such and such's grandson. That happens a lot, and I've seen it throughout my life, and I'll argue it with anybody. Pull the ladder up, Jack, and sod the rest. It's about who you know, it's about your little circles, and also it's about relationships that you've got. If you are using somebody that you've been using for 5 years, you're not looking to move that person. How can I explain that better? So look, it's at the end of the day, if Sky Sports are using somebody for Manchester United content, and they've been using them for 5 years and they've never had a problem with them, they're not going to be looking and going, he's actually bigger and better than them, or she's bigger and better than them. We've got this relationship, we're just going to keep using that. Because the mainstream media is quite lazy. It's not about going out there and getting talent. They know they've got the audience, and they can do and use whoever they want, and that's life. That is life. So it don't bother me. I'm happy to answer the question, because somebody had answered the question. But actually, there are a lot of people out there far bigger than what the United Stand or I am, who don't get on mainstream media anyway. So maybe, I don't think it's a ban. I just think that they're not interested in getting talented new voices on there with big appeal. It's their loss. Next question. Sweets or crisps? Sweets or crisps? Crisps, I suppose. I'd love to say sweets, because I've grown up loving sweets. My favourite sweets are like sports mixture, fruit salad. They're all made by Lions. Absolutely lovely. The black ones are, to get the proper ones, the black ones are like a licorice flavour. Midget Gems are another one. Love sweets. Had loads of sweets, but they're not good for you the older you get. And I don't think they're actually very good for my skin complexion either. I'm nearly, the age I'm at, I shouldn't be getting spots, and I still do. So I don't think sweet things are good for me. So I'll go for the savoury option, crisps. And I do like crisps. I like crisps. Do bad things happen for a reason? No. And I'm going to upset family members, because some of my family members are really into this sort of stuff. Like, what goes around comes around. You'll get what you deserve in the end. Well, I don't agree with that. I do agree with fate, but I don't agree with bad things happen for a reason. Because very good people I've known are no longer here anymore, and people who are absolute shithouses, I'm using that word a lot, are still here. And they'll get what they deserve in the end. Death. Well, good people get death. Normal people get death. Everybody gets death. So you're going to get what you deserve in the end. Well, death. You know, some absolutely evil people have lived well into their 90s, and some amazingly good people have died very young, and babies die young, and what have they done? So I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Look, I saw something the other day and it just blew my mind. It was like, our solar system is a tiny speck in space. Like, you know, and then people want to talk about, you know, bad things happen for a reason, and religion, and etc. I'm not saying none of those things don't happen. It's just my opinion that we're here to do what we can do while we're here, and in 100 years time, 200 years time, 300 years time, 400 years time, we're going to be very insignificantly forgotten. So you're here to do what you do in the time that you have, and don't overthink it. Like, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but this is why I always say, like, let the haters hate. It's the good people that matter, because the good people will have the biggest impact on your life in a positive way. Just don't overthink it. It's not that deep. We're here for a good time, not a long time. And yeah, that's where we're at. Sweets or crisps. How much of Mark Goldbridge is an act? I get asked this all the time. Oh, and can I just go back to something as well? Right, I just want to go back to this. I wish I'd said it when I was talking about the mainstream media ban. Right. In relation to me personally, and it fits in well with this, how much is an act, right? Over the last month, I've spoken to a big media outlet, which has just launched its website that you have to pay for. They wanted to work with us. I've also spoken to a big major radio outlet who wanted me to go on a show. I'm not going to name the names, it's not fair. You'll be able to figure them out. Both of them, in the first conversation I had with them, is, do you mind me asking, I just wanted to ask, are you really a Forest fan? Right? That's two people in the space of the last month from major outlets asking me that. Of course, my answer was straight away, why are you asking me that? Oh, it's just somebody we've spoken to who've said, don't use him, he's a Forest fan. Both people said that. I know who it is. It's the same person who started it 5 years ago. But 5 years down the line, they are still spreading lies about me and the United Stand to stop us getting a foothold into maybe relationships that would, you know, which actually I don't think really matter. But they're still doing it. They're still doing it. So in relation to me, I actually think there are people out there spreading bullshit. And in fact, I know they are. They're still doing it. And the Forest fan thing, I know who you are who's doing it. And a lot of people will figure out who's doing it as well. But, like, that's people from major companies. And the first question they're asking me, can I just ask you a question? Are you a Forest fan? I mean, like, it started from somebody who was trying to crush the United Stand because they're jealous of it. Like, the Forest fan thing, oh, it's all an act. I just cannot. At this point, it's just funny. And people use it, and people still think it. And I'm like, I grew up in Nottingham. My dad took me to watch Forest games when I was very young, when my mum and dad separated. My dad's a Chelsea fan, I'm a United fan. And I was, like, really young at the time. But the Forest fan things didn't even start because of that truth. It started because I'm from Nottingham. That's what it started from. From a bitter person who can't deal with the fact that I'm better at them than they are at talking about football. And the United Stand is better than anything that they do. And they can't deal with that. And instead of dealing with that in a way where I'm going to try and be better myself, they try and put someone's name in the dirt. And when they meet influential people in this platform, they spread lies. They spread lies. And as for Goldbridge, is it an act? Well, I think anybody who goes in front of camera has to change themselves a little bit, because I always say that the way I'm talking to you now is 20% louder and more pronounced than I would be in real life. If I was down the pub with you, I wouldn't be talking with such energy. Anybody who goes in front of a camera has to, you know, project themselves better. But to do this for 5 years and talk about a wide range of things, because I don't just do football, I'm doing this as well, and it all be an act, I think I'd have been signed up to be in a Tarantino film by now. You just cannot do that. But let the haters hate. As I said, I focus on the good people. But it just amazes me how, and this again is the world that we operate in, whether it's the media I work in, whether it's your job, wherever you work, there are shower of shithouses out there who just constantly spread lies about you because that's the only way they think they can stop you being successful, to try and turn people against you with lies, because they don't want to go toe to toe in a proper way. You know, I've said to these people in the past, if you're so obsessed with me and you think I'm a fake, there's the door, walk in the door, sit next to me now, hit the live button, let's go. And you throw everything you've got at me and let's see what happens. Let's see how I squirm with your bullshit lies. We'll do it live, let's do it. And I've always said that. All these shithouses out there spreading lies about me, get on a camera in front of people. Let's have a studio audience. It won't be scripted. You come, you do all the research you've got. I won't ask you one question. You do all the research you've got. And they won't let me ask a question because I'll bury them with truth. But they don't do that. They hide in the shadows. They hide behind their keyboards. They spread the lies to other people and do the damage and run away. And they've always done it. And that's life. That's life. Right, let's have a look at some of the questions. I haven't watched any of the Amazon series about Leeds United. They look good. I still haven't watched Sunderland Till I Die. There's so much good TV to watch. So much. At the moment, I'm watching an Italian crime thing with subtitles on Now TV. I think, is it called Gomoria or something like that? Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Really, really enjoying that. I gave up on Westworld. Gave up on that. And I'm just about to finish The Office as well. So the US Office, which is great. How long did you live in Ireland? Says Gavin O'Brien. 3 years, and I have to come back. Have you ever been in a fight? Says Charlie Sutton. I think we've all been in a fight, haven't we? We've all been in a fight. I don't really like it. I don't like fighting. It's a whole show in itself why I don't like it. Dublin or London, says Sean. I've got to go Dublin because I lived there. But I do like London, but I lived in Dublin and I love Dublin. Do you have some unpopular opinions, says Wilma? I think we've all got unpopular opinions, haven't we? I'd have to think that through. I can't think off the top of my head. And which pasta sauce gets its name from the Italian word for angry, says David Varney Jr. I don't know. I don't speak Italian. If Man United... No, not doing football. And... Oh no, I've got to answer that question, haven't I? I've got to go to Mr. Davenport's question. How do you deal with nervousness and stress? So, stress is hard. Stress is hard to deal with because when you're stressed, you sometimes can't compartmentalise the thing to not be stressed. If you could, you'd never be stressed. You're stressed. If you went, oh, that's the button to stop being stressed, you'd deal with it. And anxiety eats you up. So stress is a hard thing to deal with. I think for me, stress is about trying to solve the problems that's stressing you, because if you're stressed by it, you can't just ignore it. People say, oh, breathe deeply. Oh, I'm really stressed about the fact that, whatever's stressing you out, there's no Marmite in the fridge, that you don't keep it there anyway. I'm just going to ignore the fact. You've got to deal with that. You've got to go down the shop and buy it and solve your stress. So that's what I would say. Meet it head on. You might not be able to solve the problem, but if you meet it head on and deal with the problem in a way, well, I can't deal with this, I'm going to have to just accept with it. It alleviates the stress. Nervousness. How do you deal with nervousness? I was very shy up until probably about 17, 18. I was painfully shy. And I masked it quite well through school, but in some ways I didn't. And I think now, I don't even think I mask it now. I just don't think I'm shy anymore. I think it's not even there in me. I maybe it is deep down, but I remember what it feels like to be shy and nervous. And I think it's very hard to say how you get rid of that, because I was like, I just don't want to be that anymore. I don't want to be defined by that, and I'm going to have to fight it. And I did. And I remember I used to go to, like, I remember even in my early 20s it was still there. So I used to go to work and say, I'm going to do 3 things today that really make me uncomfortable. Not walk into the ladies' toilet and have a look at someone having a piss. Nothing like that. Nothing illegal. But like, maybe it would be something like, instead of just asking your section if they want a cup of coffee, I'd go to the section at the other end of the office and ask them if they want a cup of coffee, which is totally out of your comfort zone and totally against what I would be like as a person. So I would try and do 3 things a day, and then you do it again and again and again, and then gradually it's not. There is real truth in this. If something makes you feel nervous or shy or uncomfortable, and it's legal, it's got to be legal. If you do it, the first time you do it, you'll be relieved and you've done it. But the second time, you're still going to be nervous, and maybe the third time and the fourth time. But the more you do it, the less you will fear it, and then eventually that fear will disappear. And that is true. You can learn yourself out of being a nervous person by doing things more and more and more and more that take you out of being that. And it is a voice as well. Confident people don't have that nervous voice in their head, because if you think about nervousness, why do you get nervous? Something in your body is telling you to be nervous about it. Whether it's standing up and speaking in front of 200 people, or whether it's going to the bar when it's busy and asking for a drink. You know, whatever the silly little thing that you're nervous about, it's not silly because it makes you nervous, but ultimately it's your voice. Nervousness and shyness is a voice in you telling you to be scared about it. And a lot of it is you overthink something. You start thinking, well, oh, if I do that and they tell me to piss off, or they humiliate me, or I make a mistake. It's that voice. And actually it's about suppressing that voice and going, if I make a mistake, I'll crack a joke and I'll carry on. If this goes badly, so what? It doesn't define me. And that's what it is, in my opinion. You could write a whole book about it. You could do a whole show about it. Anyway, hope everyone's enjoyed it. Thanks, everyone. Please do subscribe, smash a like on the video, and I'll speak to you all very soon.